Am I the asshole for not inviting my sister to my wedding after she ruined my proposal? I, 29M, recently got engaged to my girlfriend, 28F, and it was supposed to be one of the happiest moments of our lives. I had planned a romantic proposal at our favorite spot, a secluded beach where we had our first date. I had everything ready: flowers, a small picnic, and a photographer hiding nearby to capture the moment. When the day came, my sister, 32F, insisted on tagging along. She said she wanted to take a few candid photos of us before the proposal. I was hesitant but agreed, thinking it might make the moment more special. Big mistake. As we reached the spot, my sister started acting weird, making snarky comments and trying to direct the whole scene like a movie. My girlfriend could sense something was off, and the mood was getting ruined. Then, out of nowhere, my sister grabbed the ring box from my pocket and yelled, "Surprise! Look what he's going to do!" My girlfriend was shocked, and I was furious. I managed to salvage the proposal somewhat, but the moment was tainted. My girlfriend said yes, but we both felt the proposal was ruined. Later, I confronted my sister, and she just laughed it off, saying she was just trying to help, and that I was overreacting. Fast forward to our wedding planning, and my fiancé and I decided not to invite my sister. We wanted our day to be about us, without any unnecessary drama. When my family found out, they were furious. My parents called me heartless, and my sister is playing the victim, saying I'm tearing the family apart over a little joke. Now I'm feeling conflicted. Am I the asshole for not inviting my sister to my wedding after she ruined my proposal? Edit. Here are a few other, not-so-minor, instances in which my sister has done me wrong. 1. My sister has a long history of attention-seeking behavior. She's the type to fake fainting at parties just to get everyone's attention. She once accidentally set off the fire alarm at my fiancé's birthday party, causing the whole place to evacuate and ruining the celebration. 2. This wasn't the first time she's crossed the line with me. When I got my first big promotion, she announced she was pregnant at the same party, only to later admit she was joking. At another family event, she spiked the punch with alcohol knowing I was on medication that strictly prohibited drinking. Then, out of nowhere, my sister grabbed the ring box from my pocket and yelled, "Surprise! Look what he's going to do!" What she did is so ludicrous that my first reaction was that perhaps this post isn't real. No one could be that obtuse. I don't blame you one bit for not wanting her at your wedding. You already made the mistake of allowing her to come along to the proposal. Not the asshole. She just laughed it off, saying she was just trying to help. What might she try to do to help at the wedding if she went? My parents called me heartless. Perhaps your parents are part of the problem and have always enabled her behavior? What's the joke? And how is she helping? Your sister is beyond out of line. I am so sorry you have to deal with her nonsense. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, but a bit of a dumbass for allowing her to tag along for the proposal. Never mind that the proposal should have been a private affair between you and your girlfriend, but you admitted in your own post that your sister has done outlandish things at the most inappropriate times to seek attention, so you were quite naive to think she would behave when you planned to propose. You don't bring a monkey to a picnic and then be upset at the monkey when it starts throwing poop at everyone. Not the asshole, but reading all those other instances of sister seeking attention, why in the world would Op agree to let her come? He should have known she'd do something like this. It's clearly intentional. Not the asshole. Your sister sounds like an attention-seeking narcissist. You and your fiancé need to present a united front and make it clear that your sister will not be invited. She already ruined your proposal, and you don't want her to ruin your wedding. If your parents do not respect your wishes, you tell them they will be uninvited. It's time to go NC with your sister, Op. This is your wedding, and you don't have to tolerate stupid, immature or unacceptable behavior. Your parents also sound like enablers. Not the asshole. It wasn't a joke and I'd tell everyone pressuring you they're just making it worse. Am I the asshole for purposely leaving a huge mess before I went on vacation? Throwaway account because my 27 male girlfriend, 24 female, follows my main. For some context, my girlfriend and I have been together for 5 years and living together for 3 of them. During COVID, not long after moving in together, my girlfriend was laid off from her job. She claims so her income is on the lower side. I make six figures and am well established in my career. I pay for the groceries and pay for the mortgage. The house is under my name. She covers utilities as she is at home most of the time and can't afford to pay for much else.
Right after she lost her job, she applied to different places, but no one was hiring, and then after 6 months she stopped applying.
I love her and I don't mind being the main provider, although it does bother me that I haven't seen her even trying to apply for jobs. I have brought this up and she gets frustrated, angry, and the conversation doesn't last long, so I've stopped bringing it up.
We have had an unspoken agreement. She cooks and cleans because she is home all day and other than utilities doesn't contribute anything else to the household. This brings me to the main issue. In the last few months she has stopped cleaning.
She has simultaneously started playing a virtual cleaning game, which infuriates me. Last week I came home to her still in her clothes from the night before and laying in bed playing this game. I don't think she had even left the bedroom. Our laundry is overflowing, there is a sink full of dishes, and the floors look disgusting. I lost it. I was supposed to be leaving for a 5-day work trip the next morning and had no clean clothes to pack. I screamed at her for being lazy.
This where I may be the asshole. Out of spite and partial pettiness I dumped 2 of our houseplants out. I dumped out 2 of the trash cans and the bottles, and finally tore apart the laundry basket to find my work clothes.
I was seeing red and I told her if she wants to play that ridiculous game instead of doing actual housework, then I'll continue to make the house as disgusting as the virtual rooms she cleans. I took the clothes I thought I may need and went to stay at a friend's house for the night and left for the trip in the morning.
I came home yesterday, to the house clean except for the mess I had made that night. She packed a few of her things and has decided to stay at her parents' house for the moment until I realize what in a hole I am.
I'm not sure I even want to apologize or if I feel sorry.
So Reddit, did I take it too far?
Am I the asshole?
Everyone sucks here, you less so, but also get a new girlfriend if nothing changes. Main things I don't agree with. The yelling. Probably should have gone with a mature discussion before it got to the state of overflowing laundry or sink full of dishes. I mean that kind of stuff accumulates and doesn't magically appear. The throwing out of house plants. Like what?
Why?
The dumping out of trash cans?
Like,
intentionally making mess?
Not needed.
Just ask her not to come back.
Simple. You two are not meant to be together.
Everyone sucks here, but her living elsewhere is the answer.
Esh. Did you ever actually talk about your unspoken agreement?
Did you express your needs for a clean living space, or did you sit on your resentment until you exploded into a scary, abusive reaction?
If you talked about it and nothing changed, the right thing to do would have been to end the relationship. Not simmer until you boiled over.
Meanwhile, she sucks for not being willing to talk about how your household functions and who contributes what. She sucks for not communicating with you if she feels overwhelmed or depressed.
Either way, you don't really come across as being very good to or for one another based on this post. Esh.
You have a genuine and valid beef, but your reaction was abusive and terrifying. You must have known that your trip was coming up, so why couldn't you talk to your girlfriend ahead of time, and if she didn't do anything constructive within a reasonable amount of time, you could have sorted out your own clothes for the trip and considered your king term options. At this point, you'd probably be better calling the relationship quits if neither of you are prepared to work on it. Passive aggression solves nothing except to breed contempt between you, and then that contempt tips into outright fury and hatred.
Which you've just discovered. Honestly, I would just tell her to stay with her parents and you will pack her stuff for her.
Marriage is the single most important decision you will make. It will decide how your kids turn out, the assets you will accrue, the type of memories you will build, and the priorities in your life.
An adult child like that who doesn't want to work, contribute and help support you will be a bad mom and bad wife.
Just think if the genders were reversed, everyone will be saying you are taking advantage, a bum, a deadbeat, a loser. You shouldn't have yelled where and instead had an adult conversation about it before you blew up, but at this point I would just move on. You are still young and she needs to grow up.
Am I the asshole for going on a holiday while my wife is pregnant?
Me and a group of 3 friends are all scuba divers, and have wanted to do a 3-week Mediterranean tour for a few years. Last year we made plans to travel to the Mediterranean in September 2023 and go diving, but my wife was having a stressful time at work with job interviews at the time, and asked for us to postpone it to this year so I could be around to support her. I said that I would, but that since we were planning to try for a baby this year, 2024, I would prefer if we waited after the trip to go off contraception so that, 1, my wife could come on the trip and or, 2, I wouldn't have to miss out again to stay home and support her. My wife said that she didn't want to come on the trip anyway, and that she wouldn't mind if I went even if she was pregnant so long as I wouldn't miss the birth. I agreed to this, and me and my friends booked the trip for September 2024 and my wife went off contraception in May so that even if she did become pregnant, the due date wouldn't be until after the trip.
Surprisingly, she fell pregnant quickly.
She has tested positive, and some calculations regarding likely date of conception show that she is already approximately 4 weeks pregnant, which means that she will be approximately 3 months pregnant when we go on the trip. She is now asking me to cancel so I can be home to support her. However, I think that's unfair since I initially said we shouldn't try for a baby until after the trip and it was her idea to start trying to conceive prior to the trip.
It's just 3 weeks away and I'm sure she will be fine. She said that the situation has changed since she is now pregnant and it would be unfair of me to hold her to her word and it would be unfair of me to go away on a holiday and leave her behind. Info. She is now asking me to cancel so I can be home to support her. Support her how? Is she otherwise disabled, have trouble caring for herself, limited English, can't drive, lives in a city where she doesn't know another person, etc.? You told her you wanted to wait. She said she didn't want to wait and would prefer to try to get pregnant ASAP even if it meant you being gone for 3 weeks when she's 3 months pregnant. This was her choice.
Have you considered that she doesn't want you to go on the trip at all? Because last year's, please cancel because I'm interviewing for jobs, was totally unreasonable.
Not the asshole. She said what she said and that's fair to uphold it.
However, I will say this, no woman can ever judge just how vulnerable you feel when pregnant until you're pregnant.
While I agree she should stick to her word, she gave you that word totally not knowing how she'd feel during this time.
It really knocks you for 6. I was super surprised how needy and vulnerable I felt when I've never been like that before.
I needed my husband. I hope that helps explain things a little. Not the asshole. You need to remind her, hey, I mentioned not wanting to miss this trip.
You assured me that it would be okay to go as long as I didn't miss the birth.
I won't be able to for a few years if I miss this window because caring for a young baby, toddler requires hobbies to take a back seat. I'm going in the trip like we agreed together I could.
Has she always been this manipulative and controlling? Not the asshole, and I think it's ridiculous that she's asking you to cancel again after last year's cancellation and the agreement you made this year. Seems like she just doesn't want you to go, period. Hope you end up going as it sounds like this might be the only scuba trip you'll be going on for the foreseeable future.
Woman here. Pregnant multiple times. She is pregnant, not disabled. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my friend I won't watch their kid until they can wipe their own butt?
My friend asked me if I would watch her daughter for a weekend while she went on a trip with her boyfriend. So fast forward, my friend drops her daughter off at my place and everything seems to be going great. I see her daughter all the time because her mom is a friend I'm really close to, so she wasn't uncomfortable or shy at all and made herself right at home. A few hours go by and she tells me she needed to use the bathroom, so I show her the toilet and leave her to do her business. After about 15 minutes I hear her calling my name, so I'll go running to the bathroom worried that something had happened. I open the door and ask what's wrong and she replies, I need help wiping. This confused me because this is a 7-year-old girl we're talking about, not some toddler or baby that's still potty training. I say, what do you mean, did something happen? And she says, no, I just went poop, so I tell her, I'm not going to help her wipe, she's a big girl and should know how to do it on her own. But she was not budging and refused to do it herself and said that her mom wipes for her because she says if she did it herself she wouldn't get clean enough. Ultimately I was disgusted, and maybe I'm in the wrong. I understand all parents raise their kids differently and all children are on their own time frame of learning new things and such, but being a 7-year-old and still not wiping your own ass was just beyond me. After a while of telling her I won't be wiping for her and she's going to have to sit on the toilet until she decides to do it herself, she starts hysterically crying telling me she can't do it herself because it's gross, and she won't get clean. At this point I call her mom and explain the situation and making it clear that I will not be wiping her butt for her.
thinking my friend would understand my reasoning for not wanting to and tell her daughter she needs to do it herself this time.
Boy, was I wrong. My friend and I got in a huge argument over this. Her telling me how immature I am for not wanting to wipe a little kid's butt, and telling me that I was seriously going to ruin her trip over this, because she would have to come back home and get her child because I'm making her feel bad about how she does things. I got extremely frustrated over this whole thing, told her she would need to find someone else to come pick her daughter up and watch her if this was going to be such a big deal because there was no way in hell I was wiping her 7-year-old's ass. My friend screamed at me about how insanely immature I am, hung up the phone, and about 40 minutes later the daughter's grandma was at my door to pick her up. So AITA for not wanting to wipe a 7-year-old's butt for them after every shit they take?
Please let me know. I don't have kids of my own and never plan to, but I sure as hell know that when I was 7 I was definitely wiping. AITA. I wonder what the child does at school. My child's school requires you to be potty trained before you're allowed to start kindergarten unless you're in the SPED classes. This is something she really should have informed you about before allowing you to take her for the weekend. Not the asshole the child is 7 years old. I doubt her teachers or school nurse wipe her ass when she's at school. If your friend and her mother want to wipe her ass, that's their business. The child is old enough to know how to use the restroom without assistance and or use wipes if her mother is afraid she's not doing a good job. No. You are not the asshole. Holy shit, does your friend have some audacity to claim you are ruining her weekend? No, she ruined her own weekend by not only failing her own child when it comes to necessary hygiene practices but by not bothering to inform you. This is something you should expect so that you, like practically anyone in their right mind, could decline in enough time for her to make other arrangements. A 7-year-old should absolutely be taught how to wipe themselves, and if there is concern about how thorough they are being, they should have been taught to use wipes. Not the asshole. That's so gross. The mom has serious issues if she has her 7-year-old convinced that she can't wipe her own ass at that age. I have younger cousins and most of my friends have kids. After 3 years old that stops, and if anything the kids end up with shit stains because they're so confident that they know how to wipe on their own and don't need any help. It's a problem that fixes itself, in my experience. Not the asshole. You have a very clear, very reasonable boundary. Your friend should have warned you before she dropped her daughter off so if you were uncomfortable, she could find someone else.